Good morning, and Teresa, thank you for that great introduction. We are so proud at the American Heart Association of the amazing work that we have been doing with our colleagues at AWS to define a new way to use data and information to really solve problems that people care deeply about, and hopefully each of you care deeply about, and that is curing heart disease, stroke, and other forms of illness that impact people's lives. My guess is all of you in this room have been or know someone impacted by heart disease and stroke. And so we're really pleased to see how well and how fast cloud computing can be used for new models of research and new models of gathering and utilizing patient-generated data. And that's what I want to talk about today. Just to give you a sense of the impact, and Teresa mentioned this, cardiovascular diseases, which include heart attacks, stroke, high blood pressure, vascular disease, claim 17.5 million lives a year in the world. 7 million of those from coronary heart disease. And if you look at the world's billion poorest people, the billion poorest people in this world, the largest killer of the billion poorest people are things like congenital heart defects and rheumatic heart disease. And so we have a real sense of urgency at the American Heart Association to do everything we can to solve these health problems through science and through research. And so when we think about the opportunities for creating new models for access and sharing of data, analytics, to improve patient outcomes, we recognize that there are many things that have stood in the way of this. When you look across the landscape of science and research, this is a world that has been very siloed. Scientists and researchers have spent their careers building studies of patients that they carefully protect and carefully curate and feel great sense of ownership in because of the personally identified nature of this patient-generated data. Drug companies in the world have vast amounts of data that they have used to get drugs through FDA approval, and all of these data sets live in separate places, and that's a problem that needs to be fixed. And so at the American Heart Association a couple of years ago, we created an Institute for Precision Cardiovascular Medicine. Our goal is to help define more precise ways to identify, treat, and prevent diseases. So, for example, if you go to the doctor today, and you're diagnosed with high blood pressure, let's just say, chances are you're going to go through a year or two of trial and error as the doctor tries to figure out which blood pressure medication, how much water pills, do you need a beta blocker to control your blood pressure. There's not a way right now to be able to look at deep information about you compared to information about others and tailor your treatment based upon your specific information. And this is a problem that needs to be fixed for the world's largest killer and the biggest contributor to healthcare costs in this country and in the world. And so at the American Heart Association, an organization over 90 years old that has spent $4 billion on research in the past 40 years, we decided we needed to take this on. We needed to bring together the world's experts and help us create a roadmap for precision medicine. And there's no question that when you think about what it will take to actually have precision cardiovascular medicine, this is certainly a science and medical problem, but it's really a technology problem because we have to find a way to bring all this data together in a way that can be more rapidly accessed and studied. And that is why earlier this year, we were so delighted to announce a new strategic business relationship with our colleagues at AWS to create a data marketplace for precision medicine. We launched this data marketplace just 2 weeks ago at the AHA's big scientific sessions meeting, and it was received with great enthusiasm. We have signed up a number of data partners who are coming in and contributing their data, and the goal, of course, is to create sort of a cloud of clouds where each of these data owners can own their own data, but it is searchable and accessible across data sets, which in science and research is a huge deal. Chris mentioned he didn't call it the Million Veterans Program, but he was talking about the veterans' healthcare information, completely siloed at this moment. Lots of progress being made in trying to make the de-identified data available, but so much promise for what that data could do to help all of you and people you know and love, if we could just have access to that data. The other problem that we're trying to solve is that in academic medicine and even in our pharmaceutical company clinical trials and certainly in the government data sets, there are all of these new technologies and capabilities and old models for how data is used and accessed. You know, the amount of information in science and research that's kept on old servers, you know, that has very little ability to be used and shared and stored and analyzed is overwhelming. And together, the American Heart Association and AWS intend to change that. And that's a really important part of what we're trying to do. The other thing that we need to do, and we're excited to, is to integrate new kinds of data. If you ultimately want to get to precision cardiovascular medicine, we need to know much more about people and their risks than we do today. And so when you look at the data that all of you are generating as you carry around your Fitbit and your sensing devices, if we think about ultimately having smart homes and smart cars, where information about how you live your life, you know, what is your heart rate, Chris, you know, every day when you're driving to work versus what your heart rate is right before you're about to go on stage and present. This is valuable information. The episodic nature of information in healthcare today does not allow the best diagnosis and treatment. And so one of the things that we intend to do in our collaboration is to create more venues for this personally identifiable information that comes across as people live their lives. This can help us get to precision cardiovascular medicine. And we also know that as we work to unlock the keys to individuals' own risk and the best tailored treatments for their risk and disease, that much more information about people is needed. Right now, there's a lot of buzz around genomic information, and certainly genomic information is very important. But I would say genomic information in and of itself, to quote one of our amazing scientists, is like stamp collecting. You know, genomic information is stamp collecting because when you have just that and you have it sitting on the shelf, it's not enough to really make a difference in people's lives. We need to pair that with information from their electronic health records, device data, information about how people respond and react to drugs. We need to look at imaging data. And all of this data together, made available, submitted and by participants who are willing to donate their data, in comparison with other forms of data that are collected over long periods of time, really will unlock the mysteries to many diseases. And so these new models are helping us, again, make things available like faster access to data, the one marketplace for data sets. I like to say, just as Amazon created the marketplace for shopping, I think I must be in the top 1% of Amazon Prime shoppers, I'm sure I am. We're creating the marketplace for scientific data for cardiovascular disease. Come here, look what's available, create curated data sets, put them in a sandbox so you can do analytics. Let others come and validate the studies that you're doing. This sounds to many of you who spend your life in technology like, of course, this is such an easy thing to do, but it is not done in science and medicine, and we are doing it together with AWS. This will create more time and money spent on research and improved patient outcomes. And the last thing that I want to mention about the importance of this new networked approach is the importance of inspiring the community to participate in the new data set. And so we have launched also with AWS a series of data grants that are going to inspire people to come into this new data infrastructure and help us think about data mining, methods validation, innovative development, and fellowship awards. We encourage any of you that are interested in helping us solve these problems to help save people's lives who are dying from heart attack and stroke and other cardiovascular disorders to come and be part of our community. We have $4.5 million worth of grants that are being offered right now, and we would love to have you join us. Thank you so much again, and Teresa, thanks to you and the AWS team for the wonderful partnership.